Okay. It's still having a heart attack of some kind. All right. Are we stable? We are not stable.
I'm getting an ad, so something's working.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Everything is just taking a little while to like load in. It's still like dropping frames like crazy, so it's still probably trying to gather some information of some kind. Yeah. We're having lots of trouble. Okay, now it's like still trying to load all this in. Jesus. Alright. That should be all in. It's still having bug issues. Are we finally okay? I think we're good. Jesus. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna just do this a different way. We're never doing that again.
What did
Um,
you do?
I literally I tried to screen share looking on my laptop and search for Sora and the original Sora thing, and yeah, that didn't go over well. So I don't even know if anyone saw that, but I'll look for it right now on my phone so that y'all can see it. OG Sora design. And there it is. There he is. There's our wee little lion boy.
It's
So,
funny too. Is like Nomura hardly ever does like anthro type things or just anything animalistic. Like he draws people
yeah.
other than the monster designs and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like even in Final Fantasy, the only thing I can think of is like Red 13, Kachi if you count Kachi,
Mm-hmm.
and like Kimari. That's like basically it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not his normal thing.
Kamari's the boy.
But anyway,
Yeah.
all I was saying basically was that it's really smart that they use Riku. Like
Yeah.
how they use Riku in KH1 is really really smart.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like foresight or just Nomura's really good backloaded storytelling, but Riku's setup in KH1 is great. Not just because like obviously like I remember playing this game as an 8-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of the rivalry between Sora and Riku,
Mm-hmm.
especially over when it comes to like winning Kyrie's like attention or affection or whatever. I mean, we can get into like the social aspects and why that's a problem like in like some other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the idea the rivalry between the two was set up really well.
Yeah.
And it makes you invested in Sora and Riku's rivalry because it's like they're friends at the end of the day. It's like you buy
Yeah.
that, you understand the kind of
Yeah.
uh,
He's like
where
he's
it's
like
coming
the older
from.
brother to the little brother.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get where that's coming from.
Absolutely.
But they do a really good job. So like obviously Sora, I think in general with the series, I would say Riku's representative of darkness, Kairi is representative of light, and Sora is representative of gray. But the way they for the series overall, but the way they do, the way they set them up in KH1 specifically, Sora, it's basically Riku's representative of darkness. Sora is representative of light, and they do it a really good job of making both of them complex to the point where this really should end up being really didactic, but it doesn't end up that way because Riku's reasons for doing what he does are actually really sound.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and they make complete sense.
Yeah, they make perfect sense, and you understand that he himself is not a bad person. He's just misguided and
Naive,
blinded by naive. That's not what I was gonna say, but yeah, naive is true as well because he is easily manipulated. It's like I don't know. It's like he's easily manipulated by Maleficent, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I think he saw through Maleficent, but he trusted Ansem completely.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah,
and absolutely. That's where the naivete comes in.
Yeah. But, he rolled really low on those wisdom saves against Ansem.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Ansem has like if Maleficent has like a +5 to deception, right? Ansem has like +8 or 9.
Yeah, he's got like at least expertise.
Yeah, expertise for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is funny. Y'all should check out Tulok the Barbarian because he just did a Ansem and Xehanort build, and he also did a Donald and Goofy build not too long ago.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
but they do a really good job of taking light and darkness and making them both complex, so that the whole thing doesn't feel didactic. Right. There's reasons on both sides, Sora, because I've heard people say that they're actually, especially around, it's usually when you're around like finishing up Monstro, because that's kind of when shit starts to kick in, because Destiny Islands happens, Traverse Town, and then it's Disneyland fun time for a while after that.
Yeah.
Right up until about you get to Monstro, and then you finish up Monstro, and you see things are starting to take a turn, right? Yeah. I've heard a lot of people. I remember Pez actually had this reaction where they were like on Riku's side because they're like, well, Riku's actually going to the effort to save Kairi, and they're like, Sora, why are you wasting time doing all these other things? You should be, looking for Kairi or whatever. And they're like, man, I'm on Riku's side. And it's like, well, it's easy to think that because if you look at it from that perspective, it's really basic because it's like, okay, if the goal is for the three friends to reunite and be saved or whatever, then Riku is the one who's putting actions towards making that happen.
Yeah.
You also have to think about how he's doing it and what.
Yes.
He straight up kidnapped Pinocchio and put him in like serious danger. He kidnapped Jasmine. He kidnapped Alice.
Yeah.
And it's not even just he kidnapped them or whatever. He kidnapped them and brought them to a person who literally stole their hearts away. And Riku did not care. It's like clearly not once when he was taking those actions did he think about the fact, well, Kairi's heart was taken. Maybe he shouldn't be taking these other people to have their hearts taken, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think about like what Riku was doing and what the consequence, like how he was going about saving Kairi, and what are the consequences of that.
I think at the time it seems like because he started doing it, I don't think he I think he just kind of gave into the, like, he didn't care what what the consequences were going to be. He was going to be able to get at least Kairi back. And then I think also what drove him to further, like, in his mission of just like, I gotta find her, is that point of like when he was with Sora and Monstra. I think that is definitely like a turning point for him. He's like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he did probably question it at first. I wouldn't doubt it.
It's also possible he didn't know exactly what Maleficent was planning to do with the princesses.
Probably not.
She wasn't really telling anyone what the plan was.
Yeah,
really.
no, she didn't.
At the same time, that also means he didn't question it,
Yes, so... Again, the naivete comes in.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's... The other thing that a lot of people tend to miss until maybe the very end is that Sora grows. It's like the idea. So like they start out at the island, and Riku's like wondering all these questions of like, is there more out there? We've got to know, right? He's like deep and philosophical, man. He's like enlightened. He's thought about this shit, man. And Kyrie's like, you've been thinking a lot lately, haven't you? And like his ego gets stroked, right? And he's like, oh, it's all thanks to you, right? It's like he thinks frustrated Jacob has said this before. He thinks he loves Kyrie, but it's not really genuine. It's not really a concern for Kyrie's sake that's driving him. It's the idea that him going to all these lengths for Kyrie feeds his ego, and makes him feel more adult than he actually is, right?
Yeah.
And the irony is that Sora, through his actions, through interacting with these other people and seeing these different worlds and the strife that other characters that he's met have gone through, he has actually grown and has become more adult
because
than
of
he was at the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
that's like another theme there. The idea of being a child versus being an adult, or just the idea of like kind of a juxtaposition of children versus adults. I mean, the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts series is children versus adults. The whole series is just these adults emotionally manipulating, and in some cases actually physically abusing these children. It's small scale in this game, but it's done so well, I think, because it's small scale. And then the ending of it is Sora against Ansem, a child versus an adult, and the adult thinks he has all the answers. Ansem thinks that darkness is like the pinnacle of all existence, the thing, the source of everything. He thinks Kingdom Hearts is darkness, and Sora, in the end, proves no, Kingdom Hearts is light.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the child is the one who actually held the answer. And it's not through like careful study and like clinical research, or even like in Riku's case, deep philosophy and thinking. It just comes from experiencing life and people.
Yeah. And it is very interesting to see that. And man, I mean, I don't know why that made me start thinking about just like the voice cast in general, but I don't know why. And I immediately thought of like, Billy Zane in that moment. I was just like, man, he did a good job. It's a shame we don't get him again.
Sold it.
I know. Yeah. I mean, he was great. He was perfect. And then, oh well.
And then agents involved.
Yeah.
Apparently they never asked him. I don't know, dude.
Who knows? They probably thought it was going to be a one-time thing, honestly.
They all did.
Yeah, everyone did at that time. I mean, hell, Chrissy Carl. I'd be really interested to go and actually watch Chrissy Carlson Romano's playthrough of the first game.
Well, she didn't do a full playthrough of the game.
Oh, she
had
didn't?
like it was like an episode. She did like a video where she played like the first couple hours of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that still would be fun to watch and go through.
Yeah, it was a good video. It should still be there on YouTube.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I'm not sure what else we can talk about.
We haven't talked all that much about. I mean, we talked a little bit about the combat earlier, but we haven't talked all that much about like the game itself, like gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we could dive into that.
game structure and whatnot.
Yeah.
World order and world, just kind of how the world,
That I
how
think
well
would be
the
a fun
worlds work.
topic we could get onto, definitely. Um,
Uh,
where to start though? Where to start? I suppose we could start with gameplay. I think that's a good place to start. So, I mean, right off the bat, you're thrusted into this, like, you see this whole intro, and then you're thrusted into this like weird mosaic world that you're like, oh, okay, what the f is this shit? And then you get three freaking statues that appear, and you get a shield, a sword, and a wand. Like, everyone in their right mind's like, okay, what? Wait, no, wait, what'd you say?
I'm picking the sword.
I'm well, okay, yes. Well, that's
Well, yeah.
number one.
That-
First, that's number two. Number one is like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah.
It's like, where
I
am
remember being
I?
as an 8-year-old, I was just like, this is. I remember just thinking like, this is really cool.
I mean, yeah, of course, yeah, it's really cool.
I was sitting literally in the other room, the room across from me,
Yeah,
when I played this for the first time. Oh wait, hello.
yeah. There you go. You didn't say
Okay.
anything.
I guess we must have dropped out or something.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But wait, did you ask me a question?
I thought you were gonna say something. You were saying that you were saying something when you were playing it for the first time, and you were
Oh no,
shouting across the
I was
room.
just thinking about the fact that I was literally in the room across from me right now when I played it for the first time.
Oh, okay, got you. I thought there was gonna be more to that, so that's
No,
my
no.
bad. Anyways, yeah. So okay, yeah. Your first thing is just like, well, obviously I'm gonna pick the sword. I mean, generally, I think most people would obviously probably want to try and look at all three first, but then everyone's gonna like, no, I want the sword. The path of the warrior.
Right, because it's a sword.
Yeah, it's a sword. It's like, well, yeah, obviously, why would I want to fight with a shield or a staff? Little did we know that later down the line, though, that magic was going to be so fucking broken in this game, but that's okay. Yeah, so it is very interesting, that it is very interesting of how, like, even when you ditch, regardless, it's as soon as you pick the first thing, that already sets your path of what you're going to get ability wise. But I don't understand what happens after, like, the second thing that you drop. Is that going to be, I think that reduces what you are going to be, like, stat wise, is going to be like your lowest.
No, it's just the order of abilities.
Really?
That's all. That's all it is. It's just the order of abilities.
Well, because I but the
I mean, I
way
think it affects stats to a certain degree because that's how you get like the extra MP bar.
okay, I guess that's fair.
So it affects like your strength or your defense or your magic to a certain degree.
Okay.
But it basically what it does is it prioritizes.
Mm-hmm.
It basically prioritizes what you
want.
Like so if you pick the sword, all your strength and combo based abilities
Are going to be up
your
first.
strength are gonna be up front.
Yeah.
And then whatever you pick last, if you give up magic, all the magic stuff is gonna be at the end.
Yeah, which is like all the stuff you need in the beginning and throughout. Because like if you're at like you're at level 60 and you don't got any like MP rages or anything, dude, you're so out of luck. Like you're gonna be trying to spam arrow when Donald isn't there and spam and cure, and you only got like I don't know like six nodes of maybe six if you're lucky six or seven nodes. It's
not a good time.
Is not a good time. So, little did we know, as kids, so like, oh my god. I mean, of course, we're all playing on beginner, when we're kids. So it's like, or at least the majority of us probably played on beginner, you know, and then worked our way up towards doing like the harder difficulties. I think I ended up starting, I think, with just normal, and it, you know, I was still okay because I was a little older at the time when I
back
started
in the day,
playing.
I think there were only two difficulty options, right?
No. Well, yeah, maybe it might have been. Yeah, just normal and then proud.
It was only. No, well, it was beginner and expert, wasn't it? So hold on. Because it's been so long since I played that version of the game now.
Oh yeah, like actually like vanilla.
Yeah, I'm talking. Well, because that's what we played when we were like 8 years old.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just trying to look this up now because. That's not what I wanted to do. But yeah, don't. While I look this up, just if there was something else you wanted to speak about.
Oh no. Yeah. I was gonna say something. I can't remember.
Yeah, in Kingdom Hearts 1, there was just normal mode and expert mode.
Oh, okay. So then there you go.
We were playing on normal.
Yeah. So yeah, we were playing on normal most of the time then as kids. I wonder what happened. Like, I'd like to go back now and like go play through that like really quickly and just see like the biggest difference in like how things worked then. Because obviously they fine-tuned a lot of things in Final Mix.
Yeah, well, you'd be going back to using the bumpers to turn the camera.
Oh God, yeah, that's right. oh Christ on a bike. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God, that's like the equivalent of going back in like Monster Hunter 1, like combat was all analog based instead of like buttons. I know, it's gross, dude, it's gross. It's so nasty. Monster Hunter 1 is not a good game. It is quite nasty. And it has definitely progressed in a lot of time. Thank goodness for that. But we're not here to talk about that. But yeah, so you know, you're there, you start off with, you know, in the Stations of Awakening, you still don't know what the fuck is going on. Then you know, you get all teleported to these like other, you know, all these other stuff. The floor starts sinking in, you sink into a freaking dark portal like, what's going on? You know, and going back and then you're just like, all right, well, why am I learning all these things on how to like push a box and freaking like for some reason it opens up a door and then like holy crap my shadow grew and it's like oh my god now we're fighting these little shadow things and who's this freaking voice talking to me the whole time, you know? It's you got so many questions roaming around in your brain of like what's actually going on. And
it's like I don't feel like it's like that section is that great a tutorial.
It is not.
But I think it's good for just kind of setting the tone of.
Yeah, I agree because I feel like the game itself, out of the entire franchise, there's so much mysticism in it of just like wow, look at all this like crazy stuff that's like happening on like around like this kid, you know. And apparently he's going to be a Keyblade. He's going to be the Keyblade warrior to seal the door and save the world.
We don't even know what that means.
And then we don't even know what that means.
We don't know what any of that means.
But we're going along for the ride. But again, I like the mysticism behind all of that. I think definitely, and right, it definitely sets that tone for what's to like for what was to come at least, or so what we thought. But I think it's so yeah. So if we keep on marching forward, we get through the door, and then we push all this thing. It's like, okay, this door appears. Okay, let's go through it, and then all of a sudden we're in this another thing, and we're like, wait, why is there a Disney princess like beneath our feet? Like, that's so weird. And why is Cinderella's hair brown and not slightly blonde? All the weird shit starts to like eke into your brain matter, and you just start thinking like, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden you're fighting a really large version of your shadow, and he's got really wiggly looking hair, and just protruding yellow eyes. So it's like,
I've heard other people say it too. My first thought when I saw that was I thought it was some sort of Peter Pan connection.
oh, really?
Shadow.
Interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because I was 8 years old, so yeah, I was probably watching a lot of those older Disney movies for the first time. Like Peter Pan was when I watched a lot around that time. I probably had just seen it like maybe a couple days ago or somewhere around there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting, and then okay, you carry on
to that Disney store, which no longer exists now. Yeah, the Disney store no longer exists now, and apparently we inherited all their crap. I don't know how that happened.
Oh wait, really? The one over by where the AMC
is not there anymore. Yeah, where it's not there anymore.
Wow, that's
apparently they're like closing all the Disney stores.
That's like weird. That's really
I know
weird.
A customer, like a guest, like asked me about it. She's like, "Yeah, I heard like the Disney store, and you guys like have all their stuff here." I'm like, that's news to me.
Shoot, dude, that's kind of crazy. Damn. Weird.
But,
I don't know. Wow.
Yeah, like first time I've heard other people say it too. First time I saw that shadow thing, I thought it was a Peter Pan connection, and then nothing ended up coming of that.
Yeah, obviously, because it's like, nope, it's just a thing that happens here. So I guess what's also still interesting about it is, okay, so you go forward, you get through, you beat the weird squiggly man hair thing. He dissipates into the floor, yada yada yada. And then all of a sudden, you wake up and you're on a freaking beach, and you're like,
in Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii. You're in Hawaii, so, or at least what we think. And we're like, where the fuck are we? Like, what is going on? It's such an interesting place to just go from there with such high mysticism, and then just bonk you straight into reality of just like, oh, actually, here's what's really going on in this kid's life. It's like, huh. It's like, the fuck? So crazy, so weird. Glad you are back, Irikazu. We are also back because we suffered a major, major headache on my part. So, anyways, yeah, and then you see this like girl, and then I think you really start. I think at that point you start really like looking at Sora's design, and you're like, God, what is up with this boy's shoes? Like, god damn, they look like cancerous in nature. Like, why are they so big and clown looking?
His feet look like the guy who hangs out outside our store with the hand.
Oh god, no.
Have you seen that guy? Have you ever just been on State Street?
I don't think so.
By the Target, there's a guy who's like, he's got some serious, he's got a serious infection in his hand. It's like blown up like a balloon.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
The flesh is peeling back, and you can see pus coming out of it.
Ooh, gross. Ooh, nasty.
People call an ambulance all the time, and he refuses help every time because the people have sympathy for his hand, and so they give him money. So it's like, that's his hustle. Anyway, I got off topic. Yes,
that's okay. So
that's the thing. You think it's his feet? It's not his feet. He has normal sized feet.
He does.
He just has really big shoes for some reason.
Yeah, that's what's so weird. Because we've seen him without the shoes on, right? Right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess no, I don't think we did, because I think he was still wearing his still original outfit, like in bed. Huh?
We see it in the again, going back to the vanilla version of the game, we see in On the title screen, the picture of his was it standing in the water.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you can't entirely see his feet, but you can tell that they aren't big feet.
Yeah, no. Another one I was gonna say is like we see Roxas, I know, with his feet, because and they're like, oh, okay, they have normal people feet. They just have abnormally sized shoes, because why not? So yeah, you do that. You see, like, oh, who's this fucking punk ass kid with the yellow, the yellow shirt and this weird ass like jean like denim thing he's got going on that's a jumpsuit of some kind.
He's got pants.
He's got pants. He's got pants on his pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, his pants have pants. And you're like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? I'm better. I'm cooler. I've got spikier hair. And then you start going roaming around.
Definition.
He's got muscle definition. Yeah, Sora is the equivalent of a wet noodle. You're just like, okay, all right, whatever. And then you start roaming around the island. You start at least the first portion of the island. You don't get to go to the back until the next day.
But Destiny Islands in general is a great tutorial.
It is a great tutorial. I
don't think the dive to the heart is a great. I think it's good for other things, but I don't think it's a great tutorial.
Yeah,
Destiny Islands is a fantastic tutorial.
I think what would have been more interesting is because it's such a very interactive one, and that's what makes it really good as a tutorial, because it's like, yes, okay, it gave Dive to the Heart gave you here's some basic stuff that you need to know. Okay, now we're gonna plunge you into the world and go have fun. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like, oh, I actually get to explore this. Okay, well, I've only got one room to explore, but well, actually, I guess technically we still can go inside the secret. You got the hut. The secret place so you got the secret place, and you can go into the the little tiny hut, where the save feature is. And then it's like, okay, cool, we got some things going on, but the sheer expanse of that first side of the island is still there's still a lot of stuff going on there. And then even by and large, you can still go there early and start grabbing items before even the second day happens, which is really cool. So then you're just like, oh, well, why am I collecting this now? It's like, oh, maybe I'll need it for later. And then turns out you do. It's rewarding you for the exploration that you did beforehand. And then finding oh, there's a small list. Wait, hey, I've already got half of this stuff. That's great. It is a very good tutorial stage without it actually being a tutorial stage and holding your hand.
Yeah. And
now KH2 in the other one. Oh god, KH2. Oh, KH2 handles that in.
I like the KH2 opening. I don't.
Yeah.
As a tutorial, I don't think it's great.
No, God, no.
Anyway. It's like you can fight all the Final Fantasy kids. You can fight Riku. You get a great sense of the combat.
Yeah.
A2, you have the race with Riku, which is great for getting you familiarized with the platforming.
Also very true as well.
And again, with everything to do with Riku in particular, again, it does a great job of setting up that rivalry, because it's like you fight Riku, and if you're new to the game, Riku's gonna kick your ass. Mm-hmm. He's gonna beat you in the races.
Yep.
And not only does he kick your ass, the game actually keeps track of how many times he kicks your ass.
Yep.
And you can tell there's a really, really great. I think the first time you see it is with the race.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you win or lose, this happens. Because if you lose the race, Riku's like, all right, we're calling it high wind. And Sora does this really great pout animation.
Yep.
And if you win, he's like, whatever, it's just a race. It's just a name. It doesn't matter, bro. Yeah. And then it's because he has now diminished your victory. So he still pouts and it works even great. He dropped a Titanite shard. I thought I just got a Titanite slab off of this common enemy. Sorry.
No,
Got
you're
distracted.
fine.
But yeah, it just, again, it's a really great marriage of narrative and gameplay.
Mm-hmm. It is. It very much is so. And so now, then going on forward from that, okay, you go for the second day. Oh, you managed to like find like some of like the stuff. You found the rope, you found the cloth beforehand. And even probably if you were, you probably ended up even finding, or actually, can you find the seagull egg before the second day? I don't think you can.
It will not be there.
Yeah, it won't be there. But
it won't spawn.
Yeah, but you can at least get you can get the rope and the cloth. I know that that's a thing.
Oh yeah, because the rope and the cloth are for day one.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I mean, regardless of that, like, you know, then like finding like all the other stuff, and exploring, you know, like now that you have like the second half of the island too, like on day 2 is really interesting to go back and forth. And it's like, oh wait, hey, they all connect, and it's like makes like a big like ass like circle, you know? It's like, oh wow, that's really cool. It's very cool to, you know, to have that exploration there. Now, going forward from that, you're like, okay, now we're getting a sense of like who these guys are as friends and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, we get this whole thing about the Palpooth, you know, like the Palpooth's like, yeah, you know, Sora, hey, you know about the Palpoo, like, if you guys share with each other, then your destinies will be intertwined forever, you know? It's so funny, and especially like how like Riku offers that up in the race. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about his ego and stuff like that. He's like, I get to share the Palpoo with Kairi, you know? It's like wow, that's a really interesting line, you know, and how that plays into effect like later on, and how Sora actually really is literally connected with Kairi for pretty much most of the franchise. And yet they get separated so many fucking times from one another. It's so stupid. It's so funny. I feel like we're almost like, I feel like it's almost like we're actually tracking what their love story is for their entire time. It's like we love each other, but we never actually get the chance or like small enough chances of time to actually be with each other.
Yeah. It's like he said at the end of 3, it's like my whole journey began the day I lost her, and every time I find her, she slips away again.
Yeah. But you were saying.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so like, yeah, like Ansem like throws Kairi out into space.
Yeah.
We don't know. He throws her out into space, hoping that she will lead him to a Keyblade wielder. Presumably, that Keyblade wielder was supposed to be Riku.
Yes.
So we don't necessarily know that. Just because, I mean, they both had the ability to wield it, right? So
yeah.
Just because Kingdom Key specifically was intended for Riku initially does not mean that Riku was the only one who Kairi could have connected with and ultimately led Ansem to.
Yes.
I prefer to think that it was Sora. Because that just makes more sense.
No, it does. I can definitely agree with that.
I mean, Kairi kind of already had more of an affinity for Sora than Riku anyway, because Kairi had noticed, he's like, you know, Riku's changed. He's been getting kind of weird, you know? Maybe we should just...
Yeah.
He's like, okay, she said she was joking or whatever, but it's one of those things where I think, like, you know... Oh, I pick this up. It's one of those things where, you know, it's like... There's, like, some modicum of truth to it. Like, that's, you know, she was being genuine to some degree.
Yeah, I agree. I guess so that there is like that itch of concern in her, I believe, like definitely. Even after like you know, like even after she said, "Ha, just kidding." It's like, no, you really are concerned about him.
No, that's
You don't just say shit like that and not mean it. All right, so
She only was like, "Oh, just kidding," when she saw Sora's reaction to what she said.
Yeah, I think so. Because she didn't want him to be worried. She didn't want him to be worried as well, probably.
Right.
So, anyways, plus she also just flirts with Sora more. Just does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like 100%, like completely different than she has than she does with Riku. She sees Riku as a big brother. Like that's all she sees him as.
And Riku's just like, but what about my hulking abs?
Anyway, so that happens. All that stuff happens. You know, we get the iconic of Kairi's theme and Sora looking out on the sunset and whatnot. They go home.
Dude, and I think Shimomoto forgot about Kairi's theme or something.
Yeah, because it doesn't appear like ever again. Or if it does,
it doesn't appear in the later games.
Yeah,
like,
as much.
It's
yeah,
not in KH3 at all.
Yeah, which is kind
brought
of
it back
weird.
a melody of memory, but it's very, very telling about how they treat Kairi in KH3. Her theme appears nowhere. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh well. Which is like weird because you think that like the best scene would be like between like her and Axel. Like, wow, hey, cool, Kairi's theme. Nope. Nope.
Well, actually, I'm kind of okay with them not playing it there because in its place, they play the theme from Days when Roxas, Axel, and Shion would be sitting at the clock tower.
Yeah,
and that whole scene is supposed to be about him remembering Shion through Kairi. So in that case, I'm okay with it. But they should have done some version of Kairi's theme when like Xehanort kills her or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
We're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we're getting way off base until we get there. Well, that's a long way from now. Anyways, so yeah, we have that iconic scene, we get Kairi's theme, and then tragedy strikes. And the plot decides to throw us like, okay, here's all this nicety stuff that you've been doing for like the past, like, let's say, if you're really taking your time and really exploring, like, I don't know, a good hour, maybe an hour and a half. Of like that first, like you're really adamant on you want to beat Riku in that race and in that fight. So, you have some liberties with it, and hey, you even level up a little bit. Oh wow, you got up to like level 5 or level 6 or something like that. It's like dang. And then the plot just decides to throw a huge wrench in that and just say, hey, here's the real game. And fucking, it's like, oh god, there's a storm on the island. Oh no, the raft! And then that iconic scene that, another iconic scene of like, oh, well, we'll never see them or hear from them again. Sora! Dinner's ready! Sora? Dun 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 dun. We
got no time for parents.
We got no time. Exactly. Or Disneyland inspired. Which I'm actually really curious.
Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious what Traverse Town is actually kind of based off of.
I've heard some people argue that Toontown was based on Traverse Town. I never actually played Toontown, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't think I ever played Toontown either, but I remember it being a thing.
I know Disney Town was based on Toontown, so if Toontown was based on Traverse Town, then
therefore
this is a case of the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. So anyway, we fight. The fucking island decides to just explode for some reason, and a dark portal just starts sucking everything in, and the island starts to fall apart, and then, oh hey, look, here's that shadow thing we just fought not like an hour or so ago, maybe 2 at this point, and you're just like, well shit, what's it doing here? Huh?
Get used to seeing that
guy. It's just like, get used to seeing that guy. And you're just like, well, fuck, let's fuck them up. And you do so. Might I say, while you're also trying to make your way to the raft, as you get onto the island, you see that Riku's just like standing over where you were, originally fighting him and whatnot. And you're just like, things just start disappearing all of a sudden, and then the portal opens, then you're just like, oh god. And then you start making your way to the secret place, and then you're like, holy crap, you're gonna die, and then all this darkness like collabs you, and you fall into it, and then all of a sudden you get your Keyblade, you get the weapon, man, and that's when you see it, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck-a-ma-woo is this? And it's like, all right, I guess I get to whack things with this now. Like, let's go, instead of a tiny wooden-ass sword. And you're like, wow.
What's interesting is, like, I feel like, I don't know, I guess it's because I found out about the game from the commercials.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted it because of what I saw in it, but I still feel like I didn't really noticed the Keyblade in any commercials. I didn't have that happens early enough into the game that it's not like I was staring at the cover of the game for like hours on end or whatever.
Yeah.
I was not familiar with the image of the Keyblade.
Yeah.
By the time it popped up into the game, to the point where when I saw it, it was genuinely a surprise. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, it's like, what is that? And then of course you get, the on-screen stuff of like, the mysterious voice, it's like, well, who the fuck is saying all this shit, who's being omniscient and whatnot. Yeah. Which I still think is bullshit that they gave. It's like, oh, it's Mickey talking to you. It's like, how? Like, I don't get it. It makes sense once Riku's in the realm of darkness. That makes total sense. But anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, moving on. So then you fight your way. Then you get to the secret place. You see this dude just like sitting there in a fucking robe after you were like doing something there, and then you're like, you see the door, and you're like, what is this? And then he's just like, yes, the door has opened, and then you're like, what? He disappears, and then all of a sudden, the fucking door opens, and Kairi comes fucking schmoozing, like, by you, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna catch you! Nope! She just goes right through you in phases, and you're just like, what? And then you get to fight big bad, squiggly haired man. And then you're like, well, shit, I gotta fight this dude now. And, oh, what's up, Zach McDermott? How you doing? Yeah, and so, yeah, it's really interesting, and then you fucking land skadoosh down in a fucking, or no, sorry, we break off.
And we actually broke off earlier a couple times.
Yeah, we did. I can't remember, when do they bring in Donald and Goofy, actually? Is it after?
In between days.
Yeah, it's in between the days. And we get those beautiful iconic memories. Oh, it's my favorite thing is just like him, like, it's good to see you this more. What? Like, and then of course him going down. It's just like,
and I had been waiting for a moment to bring this up, and this might be the moment to bring this up, because I don't know for sure, because I haven't looked into the specifics of it, but everyone talks about how, like, the later games are lacking that Disney charm, and then they always point to that scene, or that sequence, as being, like, the pinnacle of, like, Disney charm in the games, and I agree with them. I think that's true.
No, I agree, too.
I think that's due in large part to the cinematography, and I suspect then in that case that the cinematography was mostly done in that segment by Jun Akiyama.
I have no idea who that is.
Jun Akiyama is like the biggest smoking. I'm dead. Okay. Jun Akiyama is the biggest smoking gun on what happened with uh, Fabula Nova Crystallis and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Jun Akiyama was a writer and like a cutscene director. I worked at Square. He had done all kinds of projects before Kingdom Hearts. He worked on some of the old Final Fantasy games. He worked on Final Fantasy 12, after Kingdom Hearts 2. That's why he wasn't really involved in Kingdom Hearts 2, is because he was working on Final Fantasy 12. And he's like one of the... He did stuff for... was it Vagrant Story, I think he did cutscene direction for, which is like some of the best cutscenes that Square's ever produced.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Jun Akiyama. He is the sole reason Tarzan is in Kingdom Hearts 1, honestly.
Oh.
Because he, like, watched the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and he, like, begged Nomura. He's like, this has to be in there, because it would be so good.
Yeah.
So if you love Deep Jungle, you can thank Jun Akiyama. If you hate Deep Jungle, you can...
Well, what are you doing with your life? You're just wrong. You're an idiot.
Right. What are you doing? No, but if you love Deep Jungle, thank Jun Akiyama. If you hate Deep Jungle, don't blame Jun Akiyama because he didn't make the level.
Yeah.
Because like you can complain about like the platforming and the construction of the place and whatever, but
we're gonna get to that probably in a bit.
Yeah. Right. But the story of that place, Jun Akiyama handled, and it's one of the only moments in the game where there's like a bunch of actual tension between the group because like Sora and Donald, had their falling out or whatever.
Yeah. Anyways,
so Jun Akiyama was the one who was I think mostly responsible for those Disney cutscenes having the great comedic timing that they do.
Yeah.
That's why that sort of cinematography is actually lacking. In later games, even though like KH2 has better animation, the cinematography is infinitely inferior to KH1.
Yes, I agree. So we get the whole thing. We get that whole section of them blasting off out of the castle, and obviously my favorite is like Donald waking up Goofy with the freaking thunder spell. It was great. I love that. It's so iconic. And then we get the whole thing of, of like, she's like, can't even tell the queen, Daisy. And he's like, no! And then they're like right behind them. It's like, it's great. Super great. Yeah, and back to the Disney charm. So, then we get the whole section, they blast off, they're out into outer space. And then, obviously they're in Traverse Town, or at least they're headed towards Traverse Town.
Yeah.
And then, time catches up, and then we sink. We finally sink. And Sora's in Traverse Town, and we're getting licked up in the face by Pluto. Finally getting to your comment, Kazu. And then we're just like, oh shit. It's like the game actually starting now? And you're like, yeah, that is. Now the game actually starts. And as soon as you start that final fight, or after you do a couple things and then you end up fighting Leon and get to that after that cutscene, that's when shit starts to ramp up and everything starts to fall into place. And right after you fight Guard Armor, yes, I finally now remember it, and I won't forget it. Give me like 15 years, maybe I might. But, after that fight, like, oh, we have this great iconic scene, I know I keep using the word iconic, but it's just, it is iconic. And you see them doing all this stuff. And then you see the scene, you're like, I'm Sora, Donald Duck, I'm Goofy. Yeah, I'll go with you guys, and that's where everything kind of starts.
One and one for all.
So it's cool. Now we actually get to like do some fun stuff.
Best anime fight, all for one, one for all. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Although TBH, though, is a very good anime fight. Um, yeah. So now gameplay wise, we got into this thing, oh, okay, hey, now we're getting like actual like intricate and interesting bosses. We're getting a place that has many multiple rooms that we can explore, or rooms or a world that we can explore. That's not just an island and whatnot. And oh wow, we can actually like interact with it and stuff and find things like getting the postcards, for instance. Like that's like a huge thing. Yeah, it's really fun. KH1 does a lot of things right in terms of interactivity with the actual, like within like the actual world itself. 2, I feel, definitely lost that. Whereas that's just like horde and mob fighting a lot of the times. Which is fine, because it's more based it's more about the story. But I'm glad that 3 was able to kind of go back and it's like, oh no, like we want you to actually like interact like with the environment and like play around with some stuff. I think that was super apparent, like that happened in Toy Box. Yeah, it was like super huge.
0.2 like brought in puzzles of sorts. And
Yes.
I was like, oh man, are we gonna actually start doing stuff with like the levels again?
Yeah.
Like I'm down.
Yeah, and that's so great. So I think gameplays wise, I think that was a really good thing that they ended up doing. And that, like, there was, fun things that you figure out. And even though, like, some of them might have been, like, some small, like, for instance, Deep Jungle, like, trying to find all the photography slides, like, in the camp. Like,
you mean the state ID?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Yeah, I think that's another great thing that happens.
You're not recent call? No, you like.
Hmm?
Oh, you want to turn. Close it off so you don't get.
Oh, a sec, folks.
I'm okay. I mean, is it like a...
No, I turned mine back up. Sleeping. At least open your door.
So anyway. No, you're good. That's fine. I just muted you on stream, so. So anyways, yeah. So like, yeah. So going back to that, I was saying, it is nice that, that we have like these small interactivity stuff. Like, like I said, the, even if they are like small little fetch quests, like, finding all the slides in the campsite and stuff in Deep Jungle, that was a good choice of like level design and whatnot. It's like, oh, okay, cool, some fun interactivity. We get to do like some fun platforming stuff. Cool. So after we're done with like Traverse Town, not really much is kind of going on there in terms of platforming skills and all that. I think really when it comes up to it, it's like if you go to Alice in Wonderland first, like I think that is where like things really start to get interesting in terms of gameplay and especially level design and creativity. Since each room isn't going to necessarily bring you to where you think it's going to bring you, like each doorway isn't going to bring you where you think it's going to lead you. Like it's very, mishmash and kind of crazy and twisted and weird. So very fitting of the actual world itself. don't know if you had anything to add on top of that.
Nah, not in particular.
Oh, okay.
Not that I can think of.
That's fine.
You playing with the sizes is nice, and the fact that you need to be a certain size to interact with the in some ways, and then you need to be like a smaller size to interact with others. I think it's cool.
Yeah,
It sucks you have to use an item for it, but you know, items are not really an issue. So
no, items really aren't really an issue, especially. And now we go to, and now we fly over to Olympus, and we're like, whoa, oh my god, like, holy cow, like we get to be in Hercules world, like that's awesome. Oh wow, it's like a tournament style. It's gonna be benchmark for the rest of the series, but. Until 3, finally. It's like, wow, we actually get a real place to explore? Holy cow! It's nice. It is nice, starting out, I think it's good. It's like, oh, okay, cool, we got, like, all these, like, tournament-style things, like, we can grind levels here. All that fun stuff. Not very much to it. Very simple. And then we come to Deep Jungle. Now, by this point, you've got at least 2. You've got all 3 of the major first spells. So you got fire, you got blizzard, and you got thunder. Like, all right, cool. We got some stuff that we're working with, which is nice. But it's like, wow, really wish we could heal instead of using items, But no, you gotta wait. You gotta wait to earn that. Which I guess is fitting. That you would get cure through this world. I guess it just thematically, I guess, makes sense. Because it is such a plant-like world. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so, it's like the first time it's like the group, there's dissension in the group, and, really compelling, interesting, like, sub-stories happening underneath, the main story of, like, them, like, moving through the world and moving through, like, the actual Disney movie itself. Just adding bits and pieces here and there. I still think it kind of sucks that we never got, like, Jane's dad as a character in there, but oh well. Yeah. It would have been kind of fun and pretty interesting. It probably would have been, like, some small comic relief. Yeah. But, we go, we work on, we find this monkey man. Oh, okay, cool. He wants to help us, or he wants to help Sora find his stuff. It's like, not gonna lie, I always go through Deep Jungle first to get heals. I mean, good for you, man. I at least grab Blizzard and Thunder first before I even remotely thinking head to Deep Jungle.
I mean, yeah, that's how I do it too. I go Olympus, grab Thunder, then go Deep Jungle.
Yeah.
The heals. Then Wonderland is like a joke.
Yeah, Wonderland is a joke at that point. Because you can just spam Thunder for Trickmaster, yeah. When he's not on the ground. So yeah, you get there, you get through the whole thing. The platforming, oh god, dear god, the vines. Although, as you know, like when you're first playing through, you're like, oh god, I gotta swing through all these vines to get to this place, like, and then you learn later on, you're like, oh, I actually really don't have to, I can just do this. It's really funny. It's very, very funny. Moving on forward, you get there, Clayton starts becoming an issue. And then I always love the fact that, like, having Sabor just kind of randomly appear RNG based, like, in rooms, or at least in certain, like, battle rooms is really, really cool and interesting. Because it definitely holds a sense of tension of, like, like, I'm gonna actually probably eventually have to kill this thing, you know? And then eventually you do. And that's what's so cool about it.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I mean,
What?
I'm doing this because I thought of it because I'm literally doing this fight now. So, anyone in the chat, I don't know if there's anyone in the chat or maybe anyone who will be watching the VOD, anyone who has played Dark Souls 2, if you happen to have not played Kingdom Hearts, this will help you understand. Or if you have played Kingdom Hearts, then you're probably going to have the same reaction I have. So in Dark Souls 2, there is this enemy called the Pursuer, who you can first encounter him. Well, it depends on where you go first, but he can appear very early on.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually a boss that you fight later on.
That's very interesting.
And he just shows up in these different places, attacking you. Even if you're like a really low level and not ready for it, like he'll probably just outright murder you, right? But then you fight him in a boss fight later, and you like eventually overcome the challenge. That's what Sabor is.
Yeah.
In Kingdom Hearts 1, he pops up in these different places, and then you eventually have to like fight him for real, for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone wasn't aware, like if you've played Dark Souls 2, Sabor is literally the Pursuer.
Yeah.
Or I should say the Pursuer is Sabor, but you know.
Yeah. So it's really interesting how that kind of plays out. I think in terms of level design, I think platforming wise, absolute garbage. Terrible through and through. Because you don't have high jump. A lot of the stuff required for certain things like require you to like, or at least not require, but like you kind of need high jump for some of this shit. I mean, you can't even get on top of the cliff because Kurt Chat has to freaking yeet you up there, which is hilarious.
But you can't get on top of the cliff because it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
The cliff only appears after the stealth sneak breaks through the wall.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. But anyways, and that whole bond thing between Clayton and him is very interesting too, how that ended up playing. And yeah, you know that like at that point that, you know, Clayton lost his heart and he is now consumed by darkness. And it's tied to Stealth Sneak, so that's really interesting how that ended up playing. And that's what killed him too. Is just Stealth Sneak just landing on top of him, which is, I guess, no. The first time we actually see someone turn into a Heartless is our poor boy. What's his name? Deemed by Dean's chat.
Oh, in Dean's chat, we used to call him Harold.
Yeah, Harold. That's right. Yeah. Which is crazy. So, we've seen, like, 2 people die. And what's more fucked up is the fact that it's a Disney character. But we know that he also dies.
Yeah, at the same time, that makes it okay.
Yeah, at the same time, it makes it okay. Because we know he dies in the movie, so they had to do it in the game, obviously. But, you know, as us as
or
kids...
at least it's okay that they did it.
Yeah, at least it's okay that they did it. Because his movie death is way worse.
Yeah.
It's dark. Because I feel like amongst Disney villains, it's like tied between like Scar and Clayton for me.
As far as worst deaths?
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen Lion King, and it's not a movie I've watched enough. How did Mufasa die again?
You mean how did Scar die?
I mean, how did Scar die? And
got fucking eaten alive by hyenas?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bad. No thanks. I know, right? That's dark. Anyway, moving forward. So then after that, the world and the map get to expand, and you're like, holy crap, alright, we're gonna go back to We're gonna go back to Traverse Town for like a hot sec, do some stuff, and then we're like, oh hey, cool, we've got like these 2 gummy pieces. Maybe it'll take us somewhere else. Lo and behold, we get a whole new section of the map. It's like, wow, so cool. You know, and the first one we see, it's like, wow, we get to go to Agrabah. Ah, poor Agrabah.
At the time, it was cool.
Yeah, at the time it was cool. We thought it was great as kids. Not as adults. It is such a hodgepodge experience in Agrabah. Story-wise, there's actually like some cool and interesting and compelling things going on. So also in the meantime, in between some of these, after we complete some of the signature worlds in the first, I guess, realm, so to call it. Okay. You know, we get a cutscene with like all of the Disney villains lined up together, and that is also very super iconic. Like that is a scene that most people will always remember, no matter who or what or where. But it sets up again so much tension there for you of like, wow, like this underlying plot of like all these Disney villains coming together to like do this one thing, but really, you know, as time goes forward and we defeat some of these guys, you know, it's interesting to note that, yeah, Clayton's not a part of those people, and that he just falls to darkness and, you know, ends up, you know, dying because of it. Because he's not so smart.
I mean, you know, out of, you know, above game, it's likely that just Deep Jungle was maybe added in later, so they couldn't fit him in with
probably as well.
Legion of Villains.
But to think about a world where that might have been the case, of that Clayton was a part of that original scene, would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
Because Jane technically isn't a princess of heart, so.
Oh, she's not.
But anyways,
Jane definitely has darkness in her heart because she,
yeah,
you know, she lusts after Tarzan.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's.
Think about it, the man has no personality. He literally can only be interested in the body.
Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely interesting. It's the cardinal Disney sin you cannot love. You cannot lust. Therefore, darkness.
What do you mean? That was the entire plot of Hunchback.
No, I know. It is. But anyways. So we move on. We get to Agrabah. Yes, cool stuff story-wise going on, because we're like, oh wow, we see Maleficent with Jafar, just kind of like strolling down Agrabah talking and shit. You know, after we do a couple things in the first half. And then, you know, we save Jasmine, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And it's so, like, okay, you're moving around the streets, you find Aladdin's house and stuff, and then you find carpet there, and yeah, and you know, eventually, you know, he breaks down into, you know, Pot Centipede, and it's like, oh wow, okay, cool, you know, save Jasmine, or at least, well, we think we saved Jasmine, but she's already been taken at this point, to the Cave of Wonders by Jafar. So then we get to there, and God, the Lionhead boss fight again. Cool concept, poorly executed. Is a very infuriating fight, especially on higher difficulties, especially on level 1. Just God, man, the mobs alone or at least dealing with like the bandit mobs alone, like, you know, just spamming Blizzard like crazy is nuts.
Yeah, not my idea of fun.
No,
but, you know,
no, it's definitely not fun.
someone probably enjoyed it.
Yeah, someone did. So anyway, you know, we make your way through, we get through the cave, and then we get to, and then you get to the key room, or the keyhole room. The whole thing happens with like, oh no, Aladdin lost Genie. Now Genie's fighting you, and you have to fight Jafar. It's like, okay, cool. Like that's neat. That all happens. You beat him. He falls into the hole. And then Genie's like, you know, back on your side now. And then you have to go into the pit and find Jafar, you know, Genie Jafar. But at this point, Jasmine's already gone, and she's been taken by who knows what, which was Riku. So now you defeat Jafar, you get through, you cure the keyhole, and it's like, oh, I promised Aladdin we'll find her, don't worry. And then you move on. Now here's the interesting part, is where you can kind of start splitting off. I think what's so interesting about one in particular is like you aren't really set to where you can go first. It's you kind of have a little bit of free reign to kind of like travel where you want to go in terms of like what worlds they give you to go in that first section. And that's what's so interesting. And then it's the same as you move on to the second one, because you can just go and you can pass. You're like, oh wow, Halloween Town. And then I actually isn't Monstro's in between there though, isn't he?
In between, well, Monstro was either in between. He's either in between Agrabah and Halloween Town, or between Agrabah and Atlantica, depending on where you decide to go.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's really interesting about that. Most people generally go up in the way to go to, at least from...
well, actually, I remember back in the day, I used to go to Atlantica first. I think Atlantica has the lower battle level, even though it's the older world. Yeah,
because underwater combat, which, dear God, was awful in so many ways, because you literally lost everything in terms of abilities, combo abilities, like out the fucking water, just bye. But it was so, and that's when you start to realize, oh shit, maybe I should have invested.
Mixing Disney and Final Fantasy was a mistake.
Well, that, but also, no. Oh shit, I should have invested in Magic. Because that world solely relies on Magic so much. You're like, oh wow, like I can do combos, but I don't get you don't get combo pluses there. If I'm, yeah, you don't, right?
Yeah, you get combo pluses.
Oh, you do? Okay. But it's only ground, but you don't get anything aerial based, like at all.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, all that goes away.
One combo string.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Wow. So, at least you have, like, the one combo string, you know, you're going through, but then you realize, like, oh shit, like, this, you know, you work through it, you go through it, all this stuff happens, and then you get up to Ursula 1, and you're like, oh fuck, like, I should have had magic. I has no magic. It makes the fight, like, go, like, supremely faster, which is really interesting, because, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe that you don't actually have to kill Ursula fully. You can actually just destroy the cauldron. Isn't that right? Like, doesn't the cauldron, like, have, like its own, like, secret HP bar?
No.
No?
And the cauldron only basically stuns her. But when you make the cauldron explode, it does do damage to her.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I don't think the cauldron has its own health
Oh, okay. Because that would also be interesting if that was also tied into the fight, I think.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you do have Flotsam and Jetsam are there just kind of to annoy you, but most of the time, Donald and Ariel are usually taking care of that for you. Yeah, which is why you realize soon enough, you're like, oh, God, Goofy's not really going to be able to do much here. Better have a second spellcaster. Ariel's great. Ariel's a great party member, too. Which is super great. I haven't even talked about party members as well. But I can divulge into those a little later. So yeah, so we're working towards that. And then the big ugly, the big sea bitch comes. And
Sea bitch.
yeah. And I think I called her something else like on stream, and I can't remember what it was. I might have to go back and relook at that one. Because we had a coworker buddy of mine was like on there. He's like, "Oh God, whoa, God, Atlantica. Oh, this world is crap." Like, yeah, we know, and you know all that fun stuff. And I can't remember. We called her like some kind of funny ass name, and I can't remember what it is. But
I'm kind of wonderful. I don't.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going through. And then you beat the world. You get Crab Claw. You get all the other stuff. And then you move on. I mean, okay, also not to know the fact that you're actually literally dealing with a god in a Disney world, and that he knows that, oh yeah, you're not from here, and yes, I know that there are other worlds, and that you're not also supposed to you're not supposed to have affair in meddle in the affairs of this place, like, but he's like, oh well, actually maybe you kind of do need to meddle a little bit, but you know, just be careful. It is very interesting with the fact that like Triton is so omniscient that you would think he would maybe reach out to King Mickey about some of these things, and vice versa, but I guess not.
I don't know.
Yeah. Triton's a bag of worms.
Just a bag of worms.
Yeah. And we haven't even got to the real bag of worms. As we move on to Halloween Town, where our second, probably like the third main villain in Maleficent's little, you know, school of villainy, or a little, you know, villain gang. Or actually no, because I forgot Ursula was also a part of that as well. So technically, I guess then he would be... Oogie would be the fourth. Yeah, Oogie would be the fourth. And then... yeah, so you get there... And it's like, oh wow, cool! We get a costume change for Sora. Like, another one. It's like, oh, but good, at least we're on our feet this time. And, you know, you're getting through it. I think what's interesting about Halloween Town as a world, and that works so well with KH, is like, especially a lot of the themes that they talk about, like, in 1, and even in 2 as well. Just about, like how, like, you know, how, I mean, even Dr. Finkelstein's like, it's like, oh, well, hey, the Heartless are a thing, like, we should get them into the scare, you know, and into the show. Make them dance. Just like, wow, that's really crazy and weird. Kind of cool. But then, of course, everything goes wrong and they start going haywire. And obviously that's because Oogie's meddling. And, you know, Lock, Shock, and Barrel as well. So, you know, then we go to Oogie's Manor. And when we go, we fight the kids because we find, you know, what we were looking for. They end up throwing it down to Oogie. Yeah, Jack, because child abuse is funny. Whip the kids into shape. And then, you know, they're like, oh, well, he's down there. You'll have to go and, you know, have to go get it yourself. Sorry. And we go down.
Sorry.
We go down. We deal with his insane ass boss fight. Like, out of the entire game, I feel like his is the most unconventional boss fight in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is just so strange and weird and gimmicky. And that even carries on into 2 as well, as we'll talk about later on. Which I think is... Oh yeah, shit, yeah, I guess that is true. We do have to... Oh yeah. It's not the same as 1 though, right?
Mm.
No, it's
different. Kinda, sorta, but it's...
Yeah.
Handled differently.
Yeah, it's handled differently.
Actually, if I'm being honest, I think I prefer it in Chain of Memories to 1.
Fair enough. Anyway, so we're doing that. We're dealing with him. We beat him. We get the whole heart thingy. Also some very weird choice things in terms of not dialoguing certain things and then cutting to dialogue. Very weird. Like from text to dialogue things that were some very weird choices made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we get to that, and then all of a sudden, we're like, oh, okay, we saved the day, we worked it. Let's get the hell out of here. And as soon as we're about to, like, leave, freaking somewhere, or somehow, I guess, he probably just merged with the power of darkness and was like, I'm gonna become my house! Boo! Because why not? And so then we gotta fight all these dark blobs of him and his conjoined bagworm house thing that he's got going on. And then after that, he just like, oh, flails and, falls apart. And that's that. Now, when Jack learns, like, oh, well, maybe we don't need to, need the heart to work to dance and all that stuff. And he realizes, that my relationship with Sally is much better than, trying to focus on making all these things do this stuff. All right, cool. We move on. I also skipped Monstro, too.
Oh, yeah, you skipped Monstro.
Yeah, so it's the same. Back. Yeah, so we'll go back. Sorry, we'll go back. So after Agrabah, you meet up. There's a little dissension in the ranks, sort of. And Sora's just like, we need to get out of here! And Goofy's like, I think they were they weren't fighting like over the controls beforehand, before they got into Monstro. I think they just were sitting there and it was just like, it's too late, we can't move. And they get swallowed. Now...
Big fucking whale.
Yeah, by a big fucking whale. And then all of a sudden, we're thrust into, like, the throat, and then we meet our boy, Geppetto.
Oh, God.
We'll get to that later. No, and then, we get Geppetto. It's like, oh, well, my boy Pinocchio has gone off and missing. Like, okay, we'll go find him. But at this point, we already know we've already met Pinocchio, right?
In Traverse Town.
Yeah, in Traverse Town.
I mean, it's missable, but some people will have met him. Most people have missed him.
Yeah. But anyways, so after that, you're like, oh, da. And then all of a sudden, Riku pops up. Like we were talking earlier, yeah. He's in a very weird state right now, and he sees Sora with all these guys, and you're like, holy cow, like, Sora, you're okay. Like, he's like, yeah, I've been searching for you. Have you seen Kairi? He's like, no, I haven't. I'm still trying to look for her. Maybe we should go in together. And he's like, yeah, you can come with us. And then Donald's like, gotta be the pushover. He's like, nah. He's like, nah, bitch. He can't fit. We only got room for 3. And you gotta seal all the keyholes. And he's just like, but my friend. He's like, don't care. So Donald's like a straight up asshole. I wonder how that affected like Riku and Donald's relationship going forward.
I mean, Riku and Donald effectively don't have a relationship.
No, they don't.
I mean, they're fine.
They're
all
fine.
fine in the end. But
Yeah, they are. But I'm talking
there's a
about
reason
like
that Riku gets paired with Mickey and
yeah, there is a
Sora
very
is
big
Donald Goofy.
yeah. Anyway,
Ricky.
Ricky. Still need to watch that, man. We need to like share screen that. That's all I think we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only way it's gonna happen. Anyways. So, you know, we get through that level design wise now for Monstro. Again, kind of weird, and it kind of goes back to like that whole of like you have no idea where the hell you're going because it's such a mishmash maze, kind of like kind of like in Wonderland in the Bizarre Room, but in a very different way. But like eventually, you know, you kind of figure it out and figure out how to traverse around and where you need to get to go inside Monstro. And definitely in terms of palette wise, probably one of the most psychedelic freaking things that they ever decided to come up with, because
It's like semi-nauseating.
it is very semi-nauseating. It's so ridiculous. And it's what's so funny is like, ain't no whale is gonna be the inside looking like that. Oh, sorry. Ain't no whale gonna have insides looking like that. That's the way I meant to say it.
Yeah. At the same time, they can't have something that actually looks like the inside of a whale,
Which is hilarious because they show like rib cage styled bones in his mouth, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, why
Yeah.
is this the inside of his mouth?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we do have some kind of bone protrusions, but not like that. Now again, I haven't really looked at a blue whale or a sperm whale for that matter, because I think that's technically what he's based off of. As I believe he's a sperm whale. Yeah. But yeah, dang. It's a weird one. It's a weird, wacky one. And then we get through all that fun stuff. Riku's like playing hard to get with us now because Donald literally was just like, yeah, fuck you, buddy. We don't care. You're not coming with us. Go and find your own shit. Like, and then that creates the whole, dissension between, Sora and him. Alright, we get through. We get Parasite Cage. Riku actually fights with us. And then, we save Pinocchio. And everything's, right as rain. Pinocchio gets returned to Geppetto. They get to escape at some point, and they go to Traverse Town. So, now we fast forward back after we finish Hollow Bastion. Now we go to Neverland.
Off to Neverland.
Neverland was a weird choice. But it made, I guess it worked. It worked out well. Since you're pretty much just relegated to the ship. And it's definitely one of the smaller worlds. But nonetheless still has like, it's fun, it's fine.
I actually think Neverland, as far as like thematically, I think it's a perfect choice for Kingdom Hearts. I just think it's weird how they did it with the ship.
Yeah, it's just weird how they did it in terms of the choice. But I'm glad that in later iterations of them doing it, like, it actually was like, oh, cool, we actually, like, get to explore, like, the island and stuff like that. It's like, that's pretty cool. Albeit, some of those portions get restricted to us, but, oh well. Oh, excuse me. But yeah. So we get there, we get locked up, or we find out that literally it's like right as soon as we get there, that, holy crap, Kairi's there, and Riku too. Like, what? He's like, how did you find her? All this shit. Oh my god, tension's building. He's like, yeah. You decided to go off and save worlds while I actually look for her, you know, trying to make Sora feel guilty, all this other stuff. You know, they get knocked out.
Stupid.
Wait, what?
You're stupid.
Yeah. And then, you know, we get to the scene of, he's like, yeah, it's definitely Kairi. Not Sora face, not Sora face, not Sora face, not Sora face. That's like the one thing I'll always remember you from speedruns. You're just doing that, you're just saying that all the time.
No Sora face, no Sora face. And I would get Sora face, I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
That one was a tough cutscene skip.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough cutscene skip. And then, you know, we get to move throughout the ship. We find Peter Pan. After he's with us in the cell, and then we move on. We find Wendy and Tink. And then, you know, finding also it's like, oh, there's another girl in here. Oh no, they're taking us away. And that whole thing happens, and then, of course, they don't end up even taking Wendy. They just take Kairi. Because Cook thought, he's like, oh, well, she's going to be a princess of heart. And he's like, no. Rika's like,
is not one of the chosen ones. But why those heaven? What is Maleficent planning anyway?
wait. Yeah. And we get that. He's like, I don't know. I don't care. I'm just here to do the work.
See?
And that's when we definitely get the shift. So then, you know, we deal with that whole thing. We fight Hook. We get some crazy, cool, fun stuff. And then we go to the clock tower. We seal the keyhole. Yada, yada, yada. Shabang, shabam. After that, then we finally find... Don't we have to go back? You go back to Traverse Town, right? To unlock Hollow Bastion. You just fly to Hollow Bastion, right?
Yeah, you gotta go back to Traverse Town.
Because at that point, you gotta get another gummy block thing. A gummy, Navi gummy in order to get to Hollow Bastion. Yeah, you do... You've already probably done, at least by most people, have done reverse armor, or you could do reverse armor there if you really wanted to, but at that point it'll be just a cakewalk of a fight.
That's what the speed run does.
Huh?
So that's what the speed run does.
Yeah, which is funny, because you have to, because you actually end up having to, you do have to seal Traverse Town in order to get the ending. And a lot of other things to fall into place. And then finally, we go to Hollow Bastion. And we get up to the top of those waterfalls. And then everything that you throw, like, dude, I'm so strong. I got everything. Wait, what are you doing, Rico? Bam. He'd be like, gone. And you're like, what?
It's sad.
Yeah, you're just like, what? What? The game throws you like an actual loop, and then, you know, you're there with a mistake. And then they bring Beast into the equation of just like, yeah, I can just charge through enemies while you deal magic to them. Again, the game reminding and telling you, like, yeah, you should have invested in some magic.
You should have picked. You should have picked the staff.
You should have picked. Yeah, exactly. All the game developers are like, ha, noob, should have picked the staff. But no, you decided to ditch it like an idiot.
What a digital
dummy. So anyways, so you're working on with that. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy. You work your way through some of the puzzles again. Beast helping you out here and there if you need it. And you finally get up into the front hall. And you're reunited with your friends, and then you gotta fight Suriku. And you do so, you beat him. And then you start to get to explore the place. Get to do some fun book puzzles. Book puzzles be fun. I actually do like that puzzle, honestly. It is kind of a fun little hide-and-seek kind of adventure find thing. And then Beast has his scene with Belle. Or no, he doesn't have a scene with Belle. He doesn't have a scene with Belle until way later. I found Hollow Bastion 2 visit. Anyways, you get up all the way up to the top, you fight, you go up, you fight against Maleficent, and she's like, hell nah, bitch. You're like, oh, fuck, she's retreating. We gotta finish her off. And then we go to the tower, and we fight Durgan Maleficent. After one of his and my Blue and mine, probably like one of our favorite quotes that we like quoting. Do you need some help?
Oh man.
Yeah, such a great line. Do you need some help? Unleashes the power of darkness inside her. She transforms into a Durgan. We fight Durgan. We kill Durgan. And from what we understand, she is smote. And smoted. And is dead.
Is smeatod.
Yeah. So anyway, we get out of that little portal room. From the portal to the tower. And come out. I'm like, oh shit. And the wall opens up. And you're like, damn. Alright, let's go through. You go through, there's a little hallway section that's like unrailed and you can see down to the room underneath. You're like, oh damn. 2 defenders pop up and you're like, ah. And you walk through, you get through, you're like, ah, cool. Then you just step into this massive ass room and on each of the sides you just see the fucking Princesses of Heart and you're like, the fuck? What is going on? And then you start fighting some Heartless. You fight a couple mobs in, like, certain spots. Or no. That's not until afterwards. So you just, yeah, that's right. You just walk up the stairs. And then we get into the cutscenes. Cutscene City.
Oh, we skipped over the most important moment, actually.
Oh, wait, which one?
Thing, the my friends are my power moment.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. While you're fighting Riku for the first time right at the library floor, we do get the iconic scene of, he fights off, he's like, my friends are my power, and that's how he gets the Keyblade back. Woohoo! Alright, moving forward.
Yeah, but there's more than that, though.
No, I know.
That's like not even doing the scene justice. That's that's like the pinnacle. That's like the
yeah.
That's the Kingdom Hearts. That is the entire franchise right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game because it's like.
It is because
that's the moment when Sora proves that. regardless of the technical bullshit that goes with it, his heart was worthy of the Keyblade, regardless of Ventus, regardless of Kingdom Key being meant for Riku or anything else. It proves that it was him because of the experience he had had and the way he had grown, and because of his heart had been strengthened by his reliance on others. It's
No.
It's one thing to be like self-confident, but again, it's another to have like the ego, right, that Riku has, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sora,
It's just genuine understanding of what he's gained.
yeah, and of the fact that relying on others is not weakness.
And in fact,
Right?
can strengthen
and the fact
you.
that he is empowered by others, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that is Kingdom Hearts in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah. So, now that we've said and done justice for it, now we can move forward. Now here all the big plot shit starts to unravel. So you think back, all these hours that you've invested into this world, you're probably like 36 hours or so in. Like at least 30 hours in. And you're just like, well damn. What could possibly happen now? And you don't even remotely think of that scene where Sora's just outstretching his hands, waiting for Kairi to come to him, and here just phasing right through him and disappearing. That's the funny thing, because you don't even think that she's actually been inside him the entire time. Sure, they found her body. That's cool. But... Nah. Her heart has been safe inside Sora the entire time. And so... we fight now who we now know is definitely not... It's not Riku anymore. As now Ansem has possessed him. Or at least
Rixum.
Yeah, Rixum. And now we've got, which in my opinion is probably like one of the coolest outfit designs, just bar none. Although Vanitas does it way better.
I was gonna say he just took it and did it better. With
Yeah,
so,
yeah, because he's stuck with one color scheme. Because it worked.
I actually don't mind Riku's blend, but
I mean, yeah, Riku's blend is fine. I just think that there are some portions that are a little bit louder than others, and I'm just like, it kind of clashes, but it kind of works at the same time. Anyways, and we have the fated fight. You're like, wow, we fought Riku not once, not twice, but 3 times throughout the entire game. All starting from that little island, Spit of Island that you're on, and that you can't, like, with the palm tree and stuff. Like, it's so crazy to think that you're now fighting for your friend's heart. Or at least an entity is trying to take your friend's heart from you that's technically inside of you. Oh, and of course we also get another iconic line of like, Kairi's inside me? Sorry, children.
they're 14.
Yeah. You're 14! We defeat Rixum. And Sora's just like, wait, this Keyblade that he's been using to fight with is probably really important.
And a Keyblade that unlocks people's hearts.
Yeah.
And it's made up of the hearts of the
Princesses.
which is very strange.
It's very
kinda
strange.
Contradicts and doesn't go with anything else that's been established, but let's just not touch on that.
So Sora's just like, cheesy smile, stab. And you're like, oh God. You're like, why would he do that? And of course, it's like, so he can free Kyrie.
And that's where the 10+ rating comes from in the
Yeah. Because he literally just stabs himself in the chest. And he's just, he hangs there just dead. Like, dead-like. As he just floats. And, like, everything comes out of him.
A family picture.
Yeah, it's a very family picture. And Kyrie gets woken up. And as soon as she sees Sora falling back, she's like, oh my God, Sora! And then he just turns to dust. And shit. Sprinkles, sparkles. What? And Donald and Goofy are just like, come on! And then, of course, Ansem finally reveals himself his true form. And then Riku just, like, is, like, in front of him and is like, I'm holding you back! Go! Run! And so they run. And then we get to take control of it. You're like, the fuck? Why are we playing as a shadow? What the fuck is this? What's going on? And we gotta yeet ourselves and jump like like a fucking lemming off the castle walls to get back down to the opening area. So we can get to the main foyer, the main lobby. Which is hilarious. And then, yeah, you know, you go in, you have the scene, the antenna, the little boy, he's just like, scurry, and he's just looking at him. And then, of course, you get Donald bonking it on the head, he's like, confounded, heartless, go away! And then Kyrie's just like, Sora? And we're all like, what? You know, as kids. You know, she uses the power of... How does she turn him back is the real question.
The power of hugs.
Nah, I guess so.
Oh, I mean... I'm guessing a combination of the connection of their hearts.
Probably.
Awakening memories in him, and also the fact that...
She's also a princess of heart.
She was probably pouring out light or something, I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, we get our body back. Which is funny, because technically we really shouldn't. We'll learn about that later on.
Yeah, that we're gonna touch on that, like...
Yeah.
Honestly, we're probably not even gonna touch on that till like 3 games from now. Not really.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
I mean, we might touch on a little bit, but...
We'll touch on it at least a little bit in 2.
Yeah, but a lot of that's gonna be like really... Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Ultimately revealed or whatever in days.
In days, yeah. So... So anyways, then we go back, we escape Hollow Bastion because the Heartless are going crazy and they're flooding out of the temporal gateway that we've now created. A door of darkness, so to speak. And, you know, we gotta regroup in Traverse Town. And they're like, we can't go anyway because all the Heartless are taking over all the highways and it's going crazy. So now you gotta find a back way to get in. So you find the back way to get in and whatnot via, you know, Sid being, you know, crazy old grandpa, engineer. Don't call me Gramps. And then, although he is based off FF7 though, right? Sid Highwind?
Sid Highwind.
Yeah. Anyways, we get that whole thing. We get a little nice scene with Kyrie about, she's like, well, I'm gonna go with you. And he's like, no, you're not. It's way too dangerous. He's like, you'd get in my way. And she's like, the fuck? She's like, fine. He's like, here, bring a piece of me with you and bring it back to me. And he's like, okay. And then we get Oathkeeper. Awesome Keyblade.
Yeah, I missed that Kyrie, honestly.
Huh?
Said I missed that Kyrie.
Oh, what? Her being like snarky with Sora and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in KH2 she had that. They just, I don't know, they forgot.
Yeah.
Right, or I think something.
Yeah, a little bit. Definitely not in 3, though. So now we're moving on. And we go back, we seal the keyhole, and then we find out, oh, Rixum has fled to the end of the world. Let's go find him and fight him. As he's going to open the door to Kingdom Hearts. And we travel through all these things. We go ahead, we fight through and through all of these strange portals that somehow end up leading us to the back to the worlds that we had gone to before. I'd almost like to think of End of the World as like literally essentially like especially when you're going through the world terminus. I like to think of those like individual towers as like just like small wormholes, because like they literally are, as you like jump into them and then you find yourself like in a certain portion of like whatever, world, and you're fighting Heartlesses and whatnot. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's effectively what they are.
Yeah. So because like going through into the world, like that is essentially, it's like we're like on the realm of darkness's doorstep, is I feel like what that is. Essentially. Because literally it's like, oh, well, if Kingdom Hearts is the only thing that's like, the door to Kingdom Hearts is literally separating us from going to the realm of darkness, then shit, we're like right at their front doorstep. Which is crazy to think about. So you fight through, and we fight Chernobog, which I don't understand like how that's a thing. I mean, I guess like he would just be like a gate guardian of sorts to get to there.
Basically, he's just like a monster. He's just a guardian.
Yeah. Well, we get down, we fly down in through his volcano, and we get to Final Rest. Which is such a strange thing. Like, the fact that it basically brings us back to Destiny Island is so weird. Because we're like, wow, we're back where it all started, but it's not the same Destiny Islands. Like, Destiny Islands is gone, and this is what it is like in the Realm of Darkness, where it's all like deformed and stretching apart and breaking and cracking.
I mean, it's what's left of Destiny Islands.
Yeah,
it is what's left of the real Destiny Islands.
Yeah,
because they're not in the Realm of Darkness yet.
Yeah, not yet, at least. But it's so that's what makes it really interesting. Is how they showcase that, and of course they got to get crazy with the It's not as bad as Monstro, but could be better. And then we finally get to all the fights.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, I'm talking about like all the speckling stuff that they do, like in like right before you end up going to like World Terminus. They've got
the
like
end of the world.
Huh?
I love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. It's gummy blocks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what all that is just gummy blocks.
Wait, wow, I never even realized that. That's crazy. Holy shit. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's gummy blocks, because that's how he said. He described them as in the report as being like stretchy and elastic and stuff.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, because it's like that was how people were getting around, was like with fragments of worlds that were like falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
From they made like ships out of that and traveled with it. So
Yeah.
the end of the world is just all of that stuff because you have all these worlds that are breaking and fragmenting.
Yeah.
So gummy blocks would be just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's probably why you find a decent amount of gummy blocks. I think that's most of what you find like in the treasures in the end of the world is gummy stuff.
Yeah, it is. But anyway.
And end of the world is probably my favorite final dungeon in any game ever.
Okay, so you get through it, you get through all the fights, you know, you lose, he takes away Donald and Goofy from you, he takes those powerful friends that you've had the entire time, but this is your point to show that, like, yes, my friends are my power, but I also still have power on my own, and then I can get through. You know, we get to the climactic ending of, you know, him, you know, of this, like, prophetic speech of, like, even before we even start the final fight of just, like, you know, we get, all worlds begin in darkness and also end. You know, yeah, the heart is no different, you know. It stirs, darkness sprouts within it, grows, consumes it. You know, we get all that. And it even ties back in, and she's like, yes, now, Kingdom Hearts, give me the power of darkness. And Sora's like, that's not true.
That ain't true, fool.
That ain't true. But that's also another good line. That's not true. And he's just like, well, yeah. Okay. So it's actually light, fool. And then he's like, what do you mean? And then he gets blinded. He's just like, oh God, light. Why is it light? Oh! And, you know,
But why? But why?
But why? Yeah. Yeah, and so then that's the end of the game, and you know, okay, then we have the little cutscene of, you know, Mickey losing his pants. Oh no, sorry, we don't get to see that.
Yeah, we don't see that.
Sorry, not Mickey losing his pants. We find that, wow, Mickey doesn't have a shirt. We'll find out how that happens out later. Several games from now. And now, you know, we come up to this thing, and it's just like, it's like, oh God, Riku's here. He's okay. It's like, yeah, he's fine. He didn't really get his body taken away, but yes, he kind of sort of did, and it got sent to the realm of darkness.
Yeah, that whole thing is kind of weird.
That is very weird how that works, because how he starts off as, you know, Ricksome, and then, you know, shows himself as like, oh yeah, I'm actually handsome. So it's very weird how he takes on that form as well.
Because it doesn't seem like it's the same method that like Xehanort used
against Terra. No, it's something. It's very different.
But again, see what makes that difficult is we don't have anything to define that as, you know, a different classification. We know it's just, you know, things changed as the series went on. So yeah.
So yeah. You know, we get that whole thing. They close the door. We get the he's like, don't worry, I'll come find you. She's like, I'll come back to you. I know you will. When you walk up. You know, we get that. Then we get all the worlds restoring to their former glory. Like, holy crap, you did it. You saved the worlds. You've done it. And then we get back, and then for some reason, like, they're in some weird-ass realm of between, and then they find themselves walking in this fucking field-ass place out of nowhere. And then Pluto shows up.
I was just like, well, now what the fuck?
Yeah, well, now what do we do? He's like, well, I guess we can try and still find the king and Riku. He's like, and Donald for once is like,
where do we start looking for that
their door to the light? And then all of a sudden, Pluto shows up. Out of freaking nowhere. And they're like, holy crap, it's Pluto! And he's got a letter! Follow him! You know, and then they chase him, and till we, well, you'll find out once we start our next game. So, yeah. So we've walked through the entire story plot line. Gameplay-wise, we've also kind of talked in between about, you know, each level design and how it felt to us growing up. Yeah, damn. I mean, I don't even know what else, I mean, what else is there to talk about? I feel like we've touched on, like, a lot of good topics. Because effectively, we've been doing this for almost about 4 hours now.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about Sephiroth.
Well, actually, I guess we can talk about, secret bosses slightly.
Okay, we can sum this up in short. Phantom trash.
Yeah, Phantom is trash.
Zitha
Is honestly my favorite. He's my favorite. He's fun. He's exciting. He's got cool gimmicks. And somewhat challenging.
Ice Titan, just why?
Yeah, who knows? Sephiroth is just literal.
Sephiroth is, hey, did you learn the game?
Yeah. And Unknown is just.
Unknown is just, I know you're hyped for Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Which is funny, because by that point, 2 had already come out, and we hadn't gotten the Final Mix version yet. So that fight never really existed, at least in the West, until...
Yeah, no, the memory sequence at the beginning of Cage 2 is the first time I saw that. I was like, wait, did I miss something?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny how that happens. So it is very interesting with all that. It's like, wow, wait, that's a cutscene we haven't seen. And then we're like, oh, now we get it. Well, at least, you know, later on, once we actually got the Final Mix versions.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, that whole interaction, I think, is very interesting. So... which sucks, because, like, technically that... Oh no, I guess no, that would make sense after you became Heartless and then became back to Stora. So yeah, because that's when you have access to it, is after that.
I mean, it also stands to reason that even before Roxas became a thing, Xemnas would have been aware of Sora.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. Because he probably also would have... He wouldn't have been in touch or talking with Ansem. But he would have known that, oh, I have to follow the plan. It's like, I need to get 13 vessels. And create an organization. Oh! So, that'll be interesting to see how we, figure out all that's going on there. And why he also is sending his agents to a certain castle. But that will be for another time, as we will be continuing with our next game. Probably pretty soon, actually. Might be next week. Not too sure, but probably will. Depending on scheduling. Because I think I have a practice day on Wednesday, so I might do it then. So, that'll be fine. But anyways, yeah. I think we're at our end.
All talked out.
Yeah, I think so. I think we did actually have a really nice format. So I think like going through, I probably won't talk through the entire plot line of like going like world by world. We'll probably do it in a different way of, you know, we can actually literally just go a little bit more in depth about like talking about maybe like a couple story plot line points that were like really stuck out to us and stuff like that, or that were like really memorable. And then we'll actually just talk about like in conjunction with that. Okay, let's talk about like the actual world, its design and all that stuff, and you know how it plays into the story and whatnot. I think we can do that for next time, but next Reflection will be a very, very strange one, as we're literally going to be replaying one with all the same worlds. So that'll be interesting to figure out, but we'll figure that out when we get there. So yeah. I don't know who ended up staying with us, but I appreciate that you did. Sorry that we had that weird, crazy mix-up in between. But that's fine. We'll have a two-parter. I'm totally okay with that. Be nice and easy for people to kind of break up and watch, actually.
Yeah, so that probably would make it easier too.
So yeah, it probably might not be the way that we normally will do it, but eventually, yeah, we'll definitely do that. Like hopefully it won't be as interruptive as it was before, and we'll actually have game stuff like actually involved so that we can like go into the game, for instance, like I'll switch over to like PS4 stuff and we'll like say like, hey, like for instance, like here, and we can actually like show and actually interact with like, the game itself as we're like kind of doing stuff. I think that'll be actually a little bit fun, and we'll actually be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Not divert, but I guess just set us like on an easier path to like, talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways. So yeah, this was great. This was a super awesome Reflection. Kazu, if you want to hop in chat after we're done, you're more than welcome to. I'm probably gonna get out and go grab like some extra water and maybe some other kind of food if I can. But yeah. I think that's a good place to end it. What do you think, Blue?
No, we need to go for 4 more hours.
Fuck! I can only talk out my ass for so long. But yes, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Both Blue and I do. This has been really fun. And I can't wait to keep on doing this till we're done with the series. At least up to Remind, at least. Probably
by the time we're done with this, we're gonna have a new game on the horizon.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. And we're not gonna play through Melody. But we will probably just watch at least like the cutscenes, like the final cutscenes, I think, in theater mode. Or at least all the cutscenes. That there are to watch there, so that we have that for, like just some reference. And I'm almost wondering if instead what we do for that, we actually combine, what we'll do is we'll do like a final Reflection of 3 and like kind of clump the end of, so we'll include Remind, obviously. Melody Memory into that, I think would be fine with me.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Too.
So, because they are very cohesively like conjuncted together. So yes. So plan is for next week. Hopefully either Wednesday, or depending on if Mr. Blue Fox has some time off, we'll figure out maybe a day. And I still don't have my schedule for next week, but I'm pretty sure that I only have I think I only have a Wednesday practice day, and then we have shows like from Thursday to Sunday. But regardless of that, want to thank you all for coming, and we will see you guys next week. This is Leo Breaker Gaming, and Mr. Blue Fox 24. Oh no, don't get the COVID.
I ain't getting the COVID. I don't get the Kuman.
The Kuman. Yes, we will be seeing you guys next time for Kingdom Hearts Relived Rechain of Memories. So we'll see you guys then. Have a nice time.